are well equipped to keep our residents safe during the coming storm, but we need our residents to also do their part. We are also prepared to deal with post-storm cleanup. I ask the residents to use common sense and do what's needed to keep themselves and their families safe. Now we will hear from Andy Rabb, one of our deputy commissioners in the Department of Public Works, and then Ken Kajawa from National Grid.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Department of Public Works, Parks and Streets is coordinating with police and fire on down trees, shoreline monitoring, flooding concerns. We just ask people to call 911 with the most dangerous tree down calls or intersections out, traffic signals, whole roads that are blocked, trees that are fallen on houses or blocking emergency access. Those are the priorities that we address first. When we receive calls, we go out and inspect, and we address those immediate and life-threatening issues first. Then we move on to down limbs or branches that are pushed off to the side in front yards or in parks. So please call 911 with the life-threatening emergencies. We prioritize those, and then we move on to the other things. And engineering crews will also be out to monitor light poles, traffic signals, and any type of shoreline flooding. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Mayor Brown, for inviting us here today. National Grid has been tracking this weather event since earlier this week. Wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour are expected to hit the city of Buffalo and much of western New York, our service territory, on Saturday, likely resulting in power outage for some of our customers. National Grid will have nearly 1,000 in-house and outside personnel in western New York responding to outages caused by this wind event. Crews from Ohio, Michigan, and Ontario are being staged in western New York to assist with our outage response. Customers that experience a power outage or see a downed wire should call National Grid at 1-800-867-5222. Do not touch any wires that you see laying on the ground. Treat all downed wires as if they are energized. And again, call National Grid at 1-800-867-5222, or you may call 911. If you plan on operating a portable generator if you are out of power, please make sure that you do the following. For the safety of our workers performing restoration, open your main breaker. Operate the generator in an area as far from your residence as possible. Do not operate the generator in your house or in your garage, and keep all doors and windows closed while you are operating the generator. Make sure that your cell phones are fully charged, and if you have any portable backups, charge those as well. Customers can receive personal text from National Grid by text, email, and phone when an outage is detected at their property by enrolling in our outage alert system. To register, text REG to 64743, enter your National Grid electric account number, and select your preferred method of notification. Customers can also text OUT to 64743 to report an outage. Customers can also get information on outages and our restoration activity by downloading the National Grid app on their phone or by going to our website, nationalgridus.com. National Grid will be activating dry ice and bottled water distribution for customers without power on Sunday from noon until 4 p.m. in the city of Buffalo at the JFK Community Center located at 114 Hickory Street. In addition, we will also open up distribution locations in Dunkirk at the Murphy Training Center at 665 Brigham Road and at the City of Batavia Fire Department located at 18 Evans Street. We appreciate our customers' patience and understanding as we work to restore power as safely and efficiently as possible this weekend. Thank you.
So again, the windstorm expected for Saturday between 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. tomorrow is a serious storm and should be taken seriously. We will now open up to any questions that the members of the media have.
Does the city have any count of trees or trees of concern that you want to talk about?
Excuse me?
Does the city have any count of trees of concern, ash trees and such around the city, or is it monitoring any specific events?
Well, we do have an inventory. It's actually, you can go to the forestry webpage on the city's website and see it. We still have about 1,000 ash trees. We've been removing them. We also have our lists of larger scheduled tree removals, but we've been working all the way through with our annual removals. We also just had the storm on Monday evening, which generated, the winds were closer to the 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and we received, less than 50 emergency situations. So this is going to be somewhat more significant, but this isn't totally uncommon. Right. We did not change any of our regular work. Immediate hazards that we find about, we generally address within a short time frame already. So if there were any immediate hazards we would have addressed, that we were aware of, we would have addressed them. Right.
You're talking about flooding? Flooding and the high winds. Commissioner Ronaldo, do you want to speak to that?
Well, inside the city limits, as far as the flooding goes, a couple things that you can do, or homeowners can do, is take a look around and clear out any storm drains that are in the immediate vicinity of the homes, in case there is heavy rainfall, and of course if it's driven by the wind as well. So as far as flooding is concerned, that's one thing you can do. We haven't touched on overpasses, or underpasses rather, and flooded viaducts, things like that. So obviously stay at home if you can. People have been trapped under viaducts, previously in storms like this. Don't take it for granted. It's hard to tell really whether it's 3 inches of water under a viaduct or 3 feet, really, especially in the evening when your lights are shining on it. So don't try and approach it. Don't try and drive through any underpasses or viaducts at all if you see any standing water whatsoever.
Anything else? Tomorrow evening is supposed to be a hockey game. Tomorrow evening, you asked people to travel. Do you think the game should be close?
So you're talking about the hockey game tomorrow. Well, again, we're asking people to use their common sense. We're not telling them not to go to the hockey game, but they need to look at conditions around their home. They need to think about the route that they're going to travel. If they're down wires, down trees, if there are bodies of water that have overflowed by their homes, depending on where they're going to drive, they need to take all of those things into consideration. So we're not saying do not attend the hockey game, but we're saying use caution and use common sense.
Yeah, they're here already, and they are arriving as well. Given the fact that this is a forecasted event, we've had time to prepare, and we do outreach to other utilities as well as contractors that specialize in power restoration, And so what we did earlier this week was we started those outreach efforts in order to secure those crews. We bring them into the area prior to the storm so that they're staged here, so that once the weather starts to hit and we start to experience power outages, that they're already here. It's not like we're calling them after the fact and then we have to wait for them to drive a couple hours to get to Western New York. They'll be here and ready to respond as soon as the weather hits. Yeah, any time that you see winds in the 60 to potentially 70 mile an hour range, we will normally see and experience power outages. It will all depend upon which way the system tracks in terms of which areas are hit the hardest. I don't think whether they're sustained winds or they're gusts, it makes, a bit of difference. The winds are the winds, and if a tree's going to come down, it's going to come down one way or another. And, we do our best to try to trim on regular schedules so that our facilities are kept out of harm's way when we do have events like this. But it's inevitable that when we see wind speeds that we're expected to see tomorrow, that, we will experience power outages.
Thank you, everyone.